This is one of the smallest external SSD drives you can buy. This is the RavPower 1TB external SSD, and we're taking a look at it in this video. Hey there, welcome to the video. I'm Mark Brown from Editor's Keys. Now, if you're new here, consider subscribing if you're into video editing or creating. Now, this is the new RavPower external 1TB SSD drive. Now, just a heads up before we get into the review, RavPower did send this to us. They saw our review of the Samsung T5 SSD and asked us if we'd like to take a look at their drive, which of course we do. This looks really, really great. Now, they haven't paid us for this review, so all opinions will be honest and they'll be my own, and RavPower will not be seeing this video before it goes live, so just a heads up. Now, before this, I've been using the Samsung T5 drives, which are very, very small indeed, and before that, we're using this 1TB drive. Now, this is a Seagate Ultra Slim drive. It's a normal hard drive, but as you can see here, the comparison is huge. Just look at that. They're both 1TB drives. The RavPower 1TB is just so much smaller. Look how small and thin that is. It can literally fit in any pocket. It's super lightweight, and I really just love this design and color. It's kind of made from a zinc alloy material, and as you can see, it's a space gray material, so it really does suit the new MacBook Pro. So if you have a new iPad or the MacBook Pro, this will go together pretty well. Okay, so if you're new to the world of SSDs, you're probably wondering what are the main differences between this and an older hard drive that you may be used to. Well, this has a solid state drive inside it, and this has an older magnetic spinning disk. So first of all, speed is the main factor. This is around 5 times faster than older hard drives. This can read and write at around 540 megabytes per second, whereas this can only do about 100 to 140 megabytes per second. Secondly is strength. These are a lot stronger than normal hard drives. If you drop one of these older spinning disk hard drives, you're likely going to lose all of your data. I've actually done it myself a couple of times. A solid state drive is much more robust, so you can chuck this in your bag without any protection over it, and you know what? Your data is likely to be much more safe. Thirdly, it takes USB-C. So if you have one of the newer MacBook Pros, a new Surface, or an iPad Pro, you can actually connect this to your new USB-C devices, and they will take advantage of this higher speed that you can get from these drives. So anyway, let me show you this in action. Let's show you it in the real world. I've got a folder of videos on my desktop, which is 1.3 gigs in size. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plug it in, and we're going to see how quickly you can write that file to these disks. So let's try that. Okay, so we've just plugged in the RavPower 1TB SSD, and the first little test we're going to do is just a real world test. We've got this folder here, which is 1.37 gigabytes, and we're just going to drag it onto the hard drive to see how quickly it can write that footage to the hard drive. So let's go. So you can see there, it took maybe 4 or 5 seconds. So now let's plug in the older hard drive and test the speed on that. Okay, so we've got the Seagate drive plugged in. Let's get this same 1.37 gigabyte file, drag it over and see how long this takes. So 1, 2, 3. You can already see it's taking a lot longer time. The other one took around 4 seconds. Nearly done. Still going. There we go. So that took nearly 16 seconds to transfer that folder over. And you could see already that the RavPower 1TB was literally only 4 to 5 seconds at very top. So you can see even for a fairly small folder of 1.37 gigabytes, the write to the hard drive is so much faster on the RavPower. Okay, secondly, we're going to try the same thing, but in reverse. So how quickly can you take a file or folder off this drive onto your desktop? Let's see. Okay, so now for the reverse. How quickly can it write the 1.37 gigabyte file from the drive to the desktop? Let's drag it over and see. Again, it took about 3 or 4 seconds. So to me, it looked about the same amount of time it took to write that folder to the drive. So that is pretty fast for 1.4 gigabytes. So you can imagine if you've got loads of files, that is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, so let's try the reverse on the Seagate. So let's drag this video footage test folder onto the desktop and see how long that takes. So 1, 2, 3. Running over. It's going a bit quicker than it took to write it to the drive. Let's see. Nearly done. There we go, and it took 16 seconds, so roughly the same amount of time it took to write to the drive, it took to read from the drive. So you can see that's a lengthy amount of time. That's almost 3 times longer. And if you're working with large files all day, every day, that could save you a lot of time. Now, if you watch the channel, you'll know I do a lot of video editing on my iPad Pro. And that's another great thing about this little drive. Because it has USB-C, you can directly plug this into the USB-C port of your iPad Pro, and it will just come up as a drive, a bit like how it does on Windows or Mac. And then you can drag and drop files on your iPad, or you can use it for video editing in LumaFusion, which is really great. So let me just show you how that works within the iPad. Okay, so when you plug the RavPower drive in, you can see it pops up in the Files app here on the left-hand side, just like it does on a Mac or a PC. So I'm just going to drag this folder here onto my iPad Pro, directly onto the iPad, and we'll see how long that takes. So let's take that, let's drag it on. Now, the one annoying thing about the iPad is that it doesn't give you any kind of progress bar. So we've dragged it over, and you can see that there's nothing to really show you that it's coming over, but it is coming over, it's done, it's there. It didn't take that long, maybe a second or two longer than on the Mac, but you can now see we have all the video test footage there from the drive, and it's all on the iPad. Now, of course, we've still got it here on the drive itself, and it's quite good. If maybe you're going away on holiday and you want to store a lot of films, you can plug in the drive. You can maybe store all of your videos here. This is just some videos I've taken from the iPhone 12 mini, but you can actually play these directly from the drive because the drive is so fast. So imagine this, you could store up to 1 terabyte of movies, photos, and actually read it directly from the drive. You don't have to drag everything to your iPad like you did in the old days, which is really cool. Okay, now we're in LumaFusion. All you need to do if you want to connect your external SSD is come down to Files, add link to folder, and then simply connect the RavPower drive there. Click done, and then you'll see it's in LumaFusion. And now you can access all of the video files that you need. So we've got time-lapse, photography, nighttime and time-lapse. And you can just play through these before you import them into your LumaFusion projects. So of course, on an iPad, you can't edit directly from an external hard drive like you can on a Mac or a PC yet. But what it does mean is that you can play through, mark all your in and out points on your hard drive, and then import that footage to your iPad Pro. So it does save you a lot of storage still on your iPad Pro. So this is highly recommended. And as you can see, this is playing directly from the hard drive. If we, these little photos here, if we've got another little video, if we just play that back, you can see the playback is fine. There's no skipped frames or anything. It plays back really, really smooth. So essentially you can add a mark in, add a mark out, drag that on. Oh, let's just drag this clip here. And it's now going to import that onto the iPad Pro. And it works really well as part of your editing workflow. So I really, really like this drive. I just love how small and tiny this is. You can just fit it into any compartment in your bag, and it even fits into that little tiny pocket you've got in your jeans that no one knows what it was designed for. This can fit in there. So I've always recommended SSDs, especially if you're into video or photo editing. And this costs just £99 for the 512 gigabyte model, or around about £130 to £150 for the 1 terabyte model. So it's definitely not the cheapest drive on the market. I mean, you can pick 1 terabyte drives up for like £30 here in the UK. But I think if you are video editing, you know, you really should consider an SSD because it will make your rendering times faster, your exports, your imports, all of that will be much, much quicker using one of these, and it will speed up Final Cut or Premiere if you have a fast USB-C port on your Mac, PC, or iPad Pro. Secondly, if you are just backing up photos and you want to like lock your hard drive away, then maybe do still get one of these as an option for that. But I think if you're traveling around, especially if you're doing like travel vlogs, definitely consider an SSD. Now, it's not the cheapest on the market. The Samsung T5 drives are around about the same price other you go for the T7s, and they're a little bit more expensive. But this is competitively priced, I think. It's sort of in the same ballpark as all of the other SSDs on the market. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description below. And if you want to see us do any more tests with this, or if there's anything else you want to know, let me know in the comment section below. As I promise, we do get back to every single question and comment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.